It begins with a contradiction so severe that it threatens to rewrite the physics of cometary motion. Not someday, not theoretically. Now, we are watching an object violate the foundations of celestial mechanics in real time. The object is called 3I Atlas. It carries 12 documented anomalies, 12 independent violations of what we would normally call reality. The most recent anomaly is the most astonishing. A jet structure more than 1 million kilometers long. A perfectly aligned stream of gas and dust that does not smear, does not curve, does not spiral, even though the object rotates once every 16 hours. In a natural comet, this would be impossible. In the real universe, this should not exist. Dr. Avi Loeb from Harvard stated, "The jets extend for more than 1 million kilometers and yet maintain their directional integrity despite 45 full rotations. This alone would be enough to trigger an academic crisis. Instead, it is merely the 12th entry on a list that grows more disturbing every week. To understand how shocking this is, imagine placing paint on a spinning brush. No matter how precise the stream is, rotation spreads it into a circular arc. Comet jets behave the same way. Material sublimates from the surface and leaves a diffuse rotating tail. Every known comet behaves that way. Every known physical model predicts that behavior. 3I Atlas does not. Let us walk through the physics. This object spins once every 16.16 hours. Material is expelled at a thermal velocity of roughly 400 meters per second. A particle launched from the nucleus will need approximately 1 month to travel 1 million kilometers. During that month, 3I Atlas undergoes more than 40 rotations. The jet should not be a jet at all. It should be a rotating spiral ribbon. It should be visibly deformed. Its orientation should shift dramatically. Dr. Avi Loeb from Harvard noted, "If ice sublimation is responsible, we should see a sequence of discrete gas puffs like peas in a pod separated by 23,000 kilometers with a total of 43 distinct packets. That is what the physics demands. That is not what we see. Instead, we see a continuous directed beam, an intact structure, a jet that behaves as if it is actively stabilized. There is more. Some of the jets point toward the sun. Some point away from it. A natural sublimation model cannot produce both at once. Every known comet produces a sunward anti-tail only under specific projection geometry. 3I Atlas produces one without geometric justification and does so repeatedly. This is why the scientific community is no longer calling this a curiosity. They are calling it an anomaly, a true violation of physical expectations. And this anomaly is only one item in a list of 12. Before we return to the jets, we need to understand the iceberg beneath the surface. The first anomaly, the trajectory. 3I Atlas approaches the solar system in a retrograde orbit aligned with the planetary ecliptic within 5 degrees. The probability of this alignment by chance is 0.2%. Not impossible, but improbable enough to raise eyebrows. The second anomaly. The sunward jet first observed in July and August and later again in early November. A jet pointed toward the sun is rare. A persistent sunward jet is unprecedented. The third anomaly. The mass. This object is about 1 million times more massive than Oumuamua and 1,000 times more massive than Borisov. And it is moving faster than both. Less than 0.1% of all interstellar objects that should enter our system would have those properties. The fourth anomaly, the timing. Its arrival was fine-tuned to skim within tens of millions of kilometers of 3 major planets and pass perihelion during a period when it was nearly unobservable from Earth. The estimated likelihood is 0.005%. The fifth anomaly, composition. The gas plume contains much more nickel than iron. The ratio resembles industrial nickel alloys, not cometary material. Nickel to cyanide ratios are orders of magnitude above all known comets. including Borisov. The sixth anomaly. Water content. It contains only 4% water by mass. Water is the primary constituent of typical comets. This is not typical. The seventh anomaly. Extreme negative polarization. No comet ever observed has shown similar behavior. The eighth anomaly. Arrival direction. It came from the same patch of sky associated with the WOW signal to within 9 degrees. Coincidence probability? Roughly 0.6%. The ninth anomaly. Brightness. Near perihelion, it brightened faster than any known comet, and its color became bluer than the sun itself. The 10th anomaly. Energy budget. It exhibits sunward and anti-solar jets that would require an unrealistically large active area to absorb enough sunlight to power them. The 11th anomaly. Non-gravitational acceleration near perihelion. According to physical modeling, this acceleration would require the loss of at least 13% of the object's total mass. Natural comets undergoing equivalent mass loss break apart, or at minimum deform visibly. 3I. Atlas remained intact. Dr. Avi Loeb from Harvard stated, "Preliminary imagery shows that the object maintained structural integrity despite the level of mass loss required to generate the measured acceleration. This should not be possible, but there it is. And now, the 12th anomaly, the jets that refuse to rotate." Thank you for being with us. Please subscribe, share, and like. Consider the theoretical explanations. Loeb identifies 3 possibilities. The first seems elegant at first glance. Ice pockets shielded by mountains could sublimate only when illuminated at precise orientations. This would create periodic bursts spaced at the rotation period. It would produce P's in a pod jets. It could preserve orientation, but only for jets aimed toward the sun. Images from November 8th by M. Yeager G. Reman and E. Prosperi show jets pointing away from the sun. That kills the hypothesis. The second possibility is that the nucleus exploded near the sun and fragments left vapor trails. But images from November 11th by D. Jewett and J. Liu show a single intact object. No fragments, no debris cloud. The third possibility is left standing by elimination. We are not forced to accept it as true, but we are forced to accept that it is not mathematically excluded. Avi Loeb describes it as speculative, but physically valid. The jets may remain perfectly oriented because they are actively stabilized by some form of technological thruster. A propulsion system, an intentional correction mechanism, a means of maintaining global orientation for navigation purposes. This is no longer a question of whether anomalies exist. They do. This is a question of what it means when 12 statistically independent anomalies converge on a single object in a single encounter. Even if each one could be explained in isolation, the combined probability of all 12 happening naturally is effectively 0. If this object is natural, we have discovered a class of comet that violates every paradigm in planetary science. If it is not natural, then it is the first controlled interstellar craft ever detected. That is the scenario scientists must now contemplate. For this reason, Loeb introduced a classification system called the Loeb scale. Level 1 is mildly interesting. Level 10 is the highest possible anomalous interpretation. A3. I-Atlas currently sits at level 4. It is not considered extraordinary by official convention, but that may change. Dr. Avi Loeb from Harvard noted, "If future measurements show the jets match natural volatile sublimation, I will lower the classification. If the mass flow and speed cannot be explained by solar heating, the classification will rise above 4. And, he added, a final condition. If new objects appear near Earth or Mars related to 3I Atlas, the classification goes directly to 10. That would mean an interstellar fleet. For now, we wait. In the coming weeks, Observatories will gather spectroscopic data, velocity data, and continuous imaging of structural integrity. We will learn the true velocity of the jets. We will measure carbon, nickel, cyanide, and metal ratios precisely. We will track whether the object remains solid or begins to deform. We will know if physics survives untouched or must be rewritten. That uncertainty is the true heart of this moment. We are not watching entertainment. We are watching science transition from conventional to unprecedented in real time. The stakes are not merely scientific. If 3I Atlas is a natural object, then nature has been hiding mechanisms beyond our models. It would force us to reconsider sublimation, jet mechanics, angular momentum transfer, and the thermodynamics of interstellar bodies. It would be a triumph of discovery. If it is not natural, then this is the most important astronomical detection in human history. The first confirmed signs of engineered propulsion beyond Earth, and the evidence is not vague. It is geometric. It is mechanical. It is statistical. It is visible on raw frames. Imagine once again the spinning brush. Imagine paint forming a perfect straight line instead of a spiral. That is 3I Atlas. That is why the conversation has shifted from curiosity to crisis. The physics is not bending. The observations are. No final interpretation is being imposed. No premature claims are being made. Loeb is following the established scientific method. Document anomalies. Evaluate hypotheses. Constrain models. Update conclusions when new data arrives. The approach is calm, direct, and falsifiable, and that is precisely why the world is paying attention. 12 anomalies. Each independently unlikely. Together, almost impossible. A single object defying cometary physics, statistical expectation, and spectroscopic norms at the same time. Something is happening. We do not yet know what, but for the first time in modern astronomy, we can say that the evidence is serious enough to challenge the deepest assumptions of natural origin. The story is not finished. Data is arriving. Models are under revision, and the object continues to move silently through space, trailing impossibly straight jets behind it. The next observation window may decide everything. Thank you for being with us. Please subscribe, share, and like.